Welcome to Jada's Art Academy channel. My name is Mavex Squats and I am a web developer. Today I'm going to show you how to create a drop-down image. Before I start, please make sure to like and subscribe. So the first thing you're going to do is to download an image that you want to use for the drop-down and add it in the same folder as the HTML file and CSS file. This is my HTML file and my CSS file over here, and I want to use this image stove. And I've checked the item type. Once you hover your mouse, you see the item type is JPEG file, and we have the dimensions and the size. Now the item type is what will help you to know what kind of file it is. So I'm going to start to create my drop down image, and you can also create yours. Follow along in this video, and if you do not understand a part, just rewind and watch. And if you have any questions whatsoever on this video, please make sure to comment and I'll answer them ASAP. So let's begin. Now this is the alt. The essence of the alt is to help the user to know exactly what the image is about, and this is especially used when the image is not loading, or maybe the browser does not agree with the image file type, and so the alt will help the user to know exactly what the image is about. And as you can see, I wrote in the alt, that's alternative stove. And now I'll write with the width and the height. So I'll save it and refresh, and there you have it. And now to create the drop down image, we're going to create another div plus drop down content, and then I save and refresh. There you can see it. Now to make this drop down functional, we are going to use the style, the CSS to style it. But before we start, we are going to create the div for description. That is description, and we say stove for cooking. Then we close the whole of the div and the HTML. Then we save it and then refresh. There, still for cooking. And so now it's time to style it using the CSS. The first thing we're going to style is the drop down. We'll make it to be the position to be relative and the display to be inline block. Save and then refresh. There. And now the drop down content. Display none, position absolute, the background color we'll make it F9. Let's save it and see how our work looks, and then we see that it disappears. That's because it's hidden by default, and don't worry, we'll make sure that it appears later on. The min width 160 pixels, the box shadow 0 pixels, 8 pixel, 16 pixel, 0 pixel, RGBA, and we'll make this 0.2. Let's save it and then refresh. There, it's already applied. The CSS code has already been applied to it, but we can't see it yet because it's still hidden by default. But don't worry, we're gonna see it eventually. The Z index, make it 1, and now we'll create another style. This is what will make it appear. So we're gonna make it hover, give some space to that, then drop down content. Now this is what will make our work so far to appear, and so the display will be block. We'll save it and then we refresh. So when I hover it, you see it there, you see it, it appears already. And so remember, please, if you want this to actually work after you you type in the hover, please make sure to give some space before you write the drop down content. Why am I saying this? If you happen to make it to be together and you save it and you refresh in some browsers, it won't work. You see, it doesn't work. So please make sure that after you've written the hover, you give in some space using the space bar. A space is enough. Then you save it, and then when you refresh, it appears. So make sure to give some space to this hover. After the hover, give some space. That is the only way it will work. And then the last one that I created was the description, the stove for cooking. As you can see in this highlighted part here, the div plus description. And so the description is what we're going to style now to make it more better than the way it was actually. Let's make the pattern 15 pixels. Let's see how it goes. This is how it is. Now let's refresh and see how it looks like. Look, you see it? The space becomes a bit bigger. And the text align will be centered. We'll save it and refresh. There, you see? And that is how we've created a drop down image. So there, we've created a drop down image, and now you'll be wondering, wow, what am I going to use this knowledge for? Well, here's a tip or a suggestion, you may call it. You can use it for a commercial website or maybe a blog website. You can use it for a website like a restaurant website, and you can even add anything that you feel like, any content that you know that will bring your clients to bring that wow out of them. So you can use it for virtually any website that is commercial, website that is restaurant. You can use it for any of those. Now you've seen a useful feature that you can add to your website, and you've seen how it works so far, and you've learned a lot as to how to put the content using HTML file and how to style it using the CSS file. Well, now with all these things that you've learned a very great and valuable feature and how to use it. So this is how we've come to the end of the series of the drop downs. You've learned so far that they are basically free: the drop down text, drop down menu, and finally the drop down image.